Hi guys, welcome back to the next part of the series. Today we're going to be taking a look at the baking preparation that we need to do here inside of Blender before we jump into Substance Painter. So first things first, I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm actually going to change the name now, and I'm going to call this Axe Bakes. Because the way we're going to prepare this is going to be slightly different than all of the other scenes that we've been using. So the first thing is I am actually going to grab all of the elements right here, and I'm going to go to the materials, and I'm going to remove the UV checker material. We don't need the UV checker material anymore. So we can go to each individual piece or piece by piece, that's fine. We just don't want to have any material just now. Let's go back to solid mode as well. Actually, let's just keep it in solid mode. We're going to assign new materials anyway. So the way this works is very simple. First, we need to make sure that every single element that we have on our low polys and our high polys match, which means that if we have 14, as you can see right there, 14 meshes on our low polys, we should have 14 meshes on the high polys. Right now, as you can see, we don't have that. We have 14 on the low polys and we have 13 on the high polys. So that means that we're missing something over here. We need to see which one that will be. So let's turn this on. And I think it's this handle spikes. No, we do have that one. I'm not sure if it's when we mix the volcano blade low. Oh yeah, that's the volcano blade high. There we go. So let's bring it into high polys. There we go. So now we have 14 on one side and 14 on the other side. That's the first thing. Make sure that you have the exact same number. This pommel ring has a modifier. We don't want that modifier. So let's apply that modifier. Let me just make sure. Yeah. I'm just going to make sure that there's no modifiers either. Another thing, we're going to apply all the transforms to make sure that everything is clean. We don't want to have any like a weird effects or whatever. You will see this sort of like shading. That's fine. That's the bakes that we're going to be doing. And again, there might be certain things that we might need to come back and fix. But I have the hunch that this is everything's going to work exactly as expected. So this is the handle, looking good. We don't have any weird shadings anymore, and the shadings that are looking weird will be fixed on the baking process. So once we have this, the next thing I want to do is I want to do some material like segmentation. So I'm going to hide that low poly for now, and we're going to focus on the high poly. And what I want to do is I want to assign the material that each part has so that we can easily mask everything once we are inside of Substance. So as you can see, for instance, this one is going to be a rock material. So I'm going to go to the material options over here, delete that UV checker material, create a new material for it, and I'm going to call this M rock. And just to have a clean effect, I'm going to go to the base color. I'm going to use a pure red color right there. So if we go to material preview, you can see that that's completely red. So anything that's going to be rock, I want it to be completely red. So I'm going to go, for instance, to this guy right here. Let's isolate it. I'm going to grab one point right there and hit L to select all of the things that are volcano. And if we go to material, I'm going to assign a new material to that piece. And that material is going to be the M-Rock material. And I'm going to assign. Okay. So now, again, if we check the material preview, all of those rocks are going to be red. Then I'm going to go to the blade. Let's link that blade. Let's assign a new material. Create a new one. I'm going to call this M. Let's call this fire. And this one's going to be, I don't know, like green. There we go. And we assign it to the sword as well, to the blade as well. So now again, if we take a look at the solid or at the material preview, we're going to have a green element right there and a red element right here. These are going to be masks. We're going to be doing a bake called an ID map, and this will sample that color from the material, and it will allow us to have an easier time doing this whole process. Then I'm going to go back into object mode and pretty much select all of the other objects. Remember that we're doing this on the high poly element, not on the low poly. So we're going to select all of the high polys here. And we're going to assign a new material. And this is going to be, let's call this M metal. And we're going to do like a blue color. There we go. So let's get rid of this one. There we go. And here, I mean, we could just, again, just go one by one and very quickly assign the same material, the metallic material, to all of them. I want to assign it like manually because I'm a little bit worried that when we export, we're not going to get the linked texture. So just to be safe, I'll just do this manually. It's just a couple of clicks. Shouldn't be that bad. So all of the things that are going to be metal are going to be blue. And there we go. So now our high poly, as you can see, has an ID mask that's going to allow me to very quickly mask out certain textures so that we can quickly select what's going to be rock, what's going to be the metal, and what's going to be the blade. So that's the second thing. First thing, we made sure that if we have 14 elements on the low polys, we're going to have the same 14 elements on the high polys. Second thing, on the high polys, we're going to assign materials to the different parts that we want to mask out. There's going to be other ways in which we can mask things out inside of Substance. Again, we're going to cover that as we get there. Then I'm going to hide this for just a second. Let me just check over here. Another thing is, of course, we need to make sure that all of the UVs are like properly done and stuff, which they should be. And we mirrored everything properly, which should also be working nicely here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So now I'm gonna grab all of the FBXs that are part of my poly. Again, make sure that another thing that's very important, make sure that all of the like names here are underscore low. And this might seem like very stupid, but I've faced this error before, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it. If your object has the name low somewhere else, you need to change it. Change it to down, change it to inferior, change it to something else, because it might find the flag before, and we needed to make sure that it's at the very end. So everything is underscore low. I'm going to say File, Export, and as FBX. We're going to export selected objects, and we're going to call this Axe. Let's call this Lava. Since this is the low poly, I'm just going to call it Lava Axe. Now, I'm not going to do it on the Bakes demo. I'm going to create a new folder outside of that one called Bakes. Oh, and here in Bakes, that's where the Axe Lava is going to live. So I'm just going to say Lava Axe or Axe Lava, whatever you're going to call it, and just export FBX. That should be it. And then, wait. There's one more thing, sorry. There's one more thing that we need to do. On the Axe Lava, we're going to assign a new material. We're going to call this M Lava Axe. We want to make sure that all of the elements of the low poly have the same material. This is very, very, very important, because if you have multiple materials on your low poly, what's going to happen is that you're going to get multiple like painting sections or multiple UV paints on Substance Painter. So very important that all of them have the exact same material. And I'm assigning a material that's an empty like white material right now, because later on we're going to be plugging all of the textures into this element right here. So first step, again, make sure that the same amount of parts are on one side and the other. Second step, color with materials all of the high polys that you want to mask quickly. Third step, make sure that all of these guys have the proper like naming conventions. And fourth step would be make sure all of the low poly has the exact same effect. We do not, and I repeat, we do not want to combine the low polys yet. Later on, when we finish the texture, we're going to combine the whole object into a single object. That's fine. But right now, we want to keep everything as a separate element so that we can do the bakes more properly. Okay? So, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to grab all of this guys right here. And now we're going to export. So grab everything, File, Export, and we're going to export as FBX. Let's... Lava Axe is fine. Actually, no, I want to rename it to Axe Lava. So Axe Lava.fbx, and we export. That should be a fairly fast export. As you can see, 16,000 triangles were super optimized. That's really good. And now we can go to all of this guys right here, File, Export, again FBX, and it's going to be Axe Lava, but this one we are going to change the name to _high. This one will take a little bit longer, okay? So be patient. Why? Because it needs to export all of the millions of polygons that we have. And if we check over here, we're going to have the Axe Lava and the Axe Lava High that should be exporting, unless I need to make them visible. Let's try this again. So select all of those guys, File, Export, FBX, Lava, Axe Lava High. There we go. Is that working? There we go. Now it's working. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Those are the things that you need to do to prepare for the bakes. And now we're going to jump into Substance Painter, and I'm going to be showing you how Substance Painter works and how we can prepare the bakes to make sure that we get the best possible result. So hang on tight, and I'll see you back on the next video.